Politihoot! And now, from a lonely little corner of the Bronx.
Look, the United States, and I swear I am not making this up, just decided to give Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, that ICE, access to one of the world's most sophisticated spyware systems on planet Earth. A product from a company in Israel called Paragon Solutions, which makes a tool so powerful it can crack open your cell phone like a piñata at a billionaire's daughter's quinceañera. And because we're living in the golden age of democracy, but make it a surveillance state, we even have video proof to show how bad this gets.
Today, contemporary colonialism is also digital. You need to control people.
And this is where the NSO group comes in.
The NSO group is an Israeli cyber surveillance company. It has emerged in the context of a whole ecosystem that emerged out of Israeli state surveillance of Palestinians.
The problem with Pegasus is that we don't know a lot of information. What we know is that the hack will either come in the form of a one-click hack, which means that you get a message on your phone, you click on that message, and then your phone is hacked. Or it comes in the form of a zero-click. And this is where the missed call on your phone is able to hack your phone.
Later version of Pegasus, they just send you a message, and the message carries the malware. This is called a WhatsApp hack. The NSO found a vulnerability within WhatsApp and used the software to actually as a doorway into people's phones.
Pegasus is sort of setting the stage for the new terrain of warfare against activists and civil society groups around the world.
Here's the basic story. Back in late 2024, under the Biden administration, the Department of Homeland Security procured a $2 million contract with Paragon. Then someone, somewhere, had a brief moment of clarity and said, wait, maybe we shouldn't hand an agency with a documented history of civil rights abuses a tool that can turn any phone into a government-issued Alexa from hell. So the contract was paused. And then, very quietly, very casually, the Trump administration lifted that pause. No announcement, no press conference, just poof, like a bunch of spyware fairies sprinkling digital nightmares across the land. Public procurement records list ICE as the contracting agency. You can find it yourself. Look it up on sam.gov. It's there for all the world to see. Because if you're going to give ICE a surveillance superweapon, you don't roll it out at a podium. You slip it out like you're leaving a party without saying goodbye. And let's talk about the tool itself, Graphite. The name that sounds like a Marvel superhero, but actually functions like a supervillain with an iPhone. Graphite can hack your phone, open encrypted apps like WhatsApp and Signal, turn your microphone into a listening device, crack you like an ex with a master's degree in cybersecurity and nothing to lose. Here's a clip breaking down how spyware like this works.
Pegasus, so scary. Pegasus is one of the most advanced spyware technologies of its time. Once it enters your phone, everything private gets exposed to someone lurking on the other end. Pegasus can turn on your camera, record videos and voice messages, and see every media file you have. It can even record your password keystrokes. But hold on, the scariest part is how it enters your phone. Pegasus can sneak into users' phones via malicious links, text messages, or the most advanced approach, a zero-click attack, meaning the user doesn't perform any action. The company that developed Pegasus was called the NSO Group. The spyware's primary goals were governmental surveillance information gathering and spying on terrorist groups and various organized crime units. Pegasus was so successful that it helped capture the head of a Mexican drug cartel, El Chapo. But soon, things went downhill. Leaked data proved that many governments began to abuse Pegasus and were targeting individuals such as human rights activists and journalists, especially in those countries where democracy is not thriving. Investigators found thousands of individual names and phone numbers in the leaked surveillance list around the globe. A significant amount of those numbers were either infected or targeted by Pegasus. On October 2nd, journalist Jamal Khashoggi died in an attack on the Saudi consulate in Turkey. Soon afterward, the Pegasus spyware was detected on his fiance's phone. There's no evidence that Pegasus had anything to do with the journalist's murder, but one thing's for sure: Pegasus spyware remains a real threat to the privacy of ordinary citizens.
As reported by researchers at the University of Toronto, these tools were designed for dictatorships, not democracies. Which is a hell of a thing to hear when you live in a country that won't stop chanting, "We're a democracy," like it's trying to convince itself in the mirror. Now, Paragon says, don't worry, we only sell to democracies. Good. Because democracies never spy on journalists. Case in point, Italy used graphite on over 90 people, including reporters and civil rights activists.
Pope Francis just publicly called out Italy's spy service. He was speaking at their 100th anniversary events, and instead of just handing out congratulations, he warned them not to use intelligence to smear politicians or journalists.
Yes, even the Pope, Pope Francis, the kindly forgiving Pope who had the biggest heart for people, had enough of the government spying on its own. And here's the really fun part: counterintelligence. There's a baked-in counterintelligence risk because multiple governments use the same spyware, which means they also know how to detect it. So they bought a $10 million spyware tool that can be detected by Russia, China, and Israel. But if you ask about it, you get a PDF and that says classified. And civil rights groups losing their minds. The Knight First Amendment Institute warned that graphite poses a profound threat to free speech and privacy. Profound, as in, this is how you end up whispering into your phone like it's a confessional booth. Now, zoom out. This doesn't stop at spyware. Gaza has become a testing ground where surveillance tech is developed, perfected, and marketed. Tested there, exported back home. Which brings us to policing. Ever wonder why American police sometimes look less like neighborhood safety officers and more like they're auditioning for Call of Duty home invasion? No, it's not a vibe. It's training. Since the early 2000s, thousands of U.S. law enforcement officials, cops, ICE agents, sheriffs, Border Patrol, top brass have gone on all-expense paid vacations called counterterrorism trips to Israel. The American-Israel Alliance, in partnership with Jewish Voices for Peace, took a good look into this. And what did they learn? Perfecting surveillance, camera networks, data mining, social monitoring for decades under occupation. And U.S. police classes are basically how to build a surveillance state 101. They learn mass surveillance, data mining communities, treating entire population as potential threats. After a 2008 U.S.-Israel delegation, the Atlanta Police Department built a camera network similar to Jerusalem's. Not who committed a crime, but who is walking, who is texting, who is protesting, who is paying too much attention to what we are doing. Racial profiling gets a rebrand as counterterrorism. Suppressing protests gets a rebrand as crowd control. Tear gas, rubber bullets, skunk spray, tools developed for occupation deployed at home. So let's be clear. This isn't about safety. It's about control. They build walls there and prisons here. They limit movement there and pass anti-protest laws here. Gaza and the United States are two fronts of the same authoritarian blueprint. And if that doesn't terrify you, remember this. These people think democracy is like a Netflix subscription. And they cancel it the second a brown person, a queer kid, a journalist, or anyone with a moral compass joins the cast.
So that's all for us today here at Politihoot. Please leave a like or subscribe to the show or leave a comment below. You can also go to our Facebook page at Politihoot and check into Podline FM. You then can record your own voice and leave your own message that we might play on the show. Love to hear what you think.
Politihoot!